Hey, what's up, you guys? So right now it's Ash Wednesday, and I'm driving off, as you can see. And this video is gonna be actually a recap video of my experience doing the gallon challenge. Now, there's two different things you can do for Lent, basically, or for the next 40 days. You can either A, give something up, which is what most people do. I'm not gonna eat chocolate or drink alcohol or something along those lines, or you can do something more of a certain activity. So someone says, I'm going to run a mile a day every day for the next 40 days, or something along those lines. So you can do either or. And I read this article about this lady who I guess drank a gallon of water every day for 4 weeks. And she stated that her skin improved, she felt happier, more energetic, and all these basic crazy health benefits. Now, for me, I've never really been particularly a completely religious person, but I do like the idea of doing something like Lent. And after reading that article, I thought that given today's Ash Wednesday, and given that's gonna be a 40-day long period, until Easter, I thought, why not do it? It'll be a perfect period of time. So basically, this is the first video of a couple. What I'm gonna do is, today is obviously Wednesday, and it's Ash Wednesday. I'm gonna do a video each week on Wednesday, so basically a week from this Wednesday, and basically do a kind of analysis of how I feel, because I've seen already a couple posts online after that one saying like, oh, well, I tried this thing of drinking a gallon of water for a week. I tried it for only a week, or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and so I might as well give it a shot, let you guys know obviously how it goes. From this video on, obviously this is the first one, and then, after this one is going to be a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, so on and so forth until the very last day, 40 days from now. So hope you guys like the video, and, let's see how it looks for a week from now. Okay, so it's Thursday morning right now, and I've been drinking a gallon of water a day for a week now. Obviously, I'm going to be doing this for 40 days, so week one was pretty interesting. I'd say in the beginning, when I first started doing it, it was really annoying in the sense that usually, obviously, like if I'm like having a meal or if I'm working out, I'll always drink water. Like, water is always my go-to. But to be able to sit down and force myself to drink water just for the sake of drinking water is pretty annoying in the beginning because I was forcing myself so much water. As you can imagine, I was peeing a lot, especially in the beginning. And it was more of like a hassle because in addition to that, my stomach was definitely expanding and contracting a lot. Like now I completely understand what the term of like when people say, oh, I feel bloated today. I never really understood what that meant, and now I completely do. So I guess it's like a cool side effect depending on how you look at it. Now that it's been a week, I'd say I've definitely gotten used to it in the sense that even right now as I'm talking on this video, I'm actually pretty thirsty when before I wouldn't be. I don't know if that is a mental side effect or if my body's just so much used to it now where it craves that gallon of water every day. But now, if anything, if I were to like say stop drinking the gallon of water, my body would probably like bug out or something. I'm not sure. In addition, I also have a lot more energy, weirdly enough. I definitely wouldn't have expected this, but I have barely had any caffeine the past week, and I'm wired throughout the day, interesting enough. And I'm not sure exactly why. I mean, obviously it makes sense because water is really good for you, but that extra boost of energy is something I didn't expect. And then in addition, I noticed I can think more clearly, which I guess makes sense too because obviously water is insanely good for you. But so far, we'll see how it goes. As you can see too, per this video, my hair is definitely a little bit different than it was before. I got a haircut, and then in addition, obviously I shaved since the last video, so that might kind of, be a little bit different, but I really haven't changed anything that much in terms of my lifestyle, and I kind of want to keep the variables as constant as possible, except the water intake, just see what's going to happen because, obviously I've read some articles about some people, drinking a lot of water, getting a lot of benefits, and a lot of what they talked about was their skin, how their skin changed, their complexion changed, and that would be interesting to see with me. I'm not sure yet. Also, I know like the first video that I did, I was shaved, now I'm not shaved, so we'll see what happens, but week one down, we'll see how the rest of the weeks go. Okay, so it's week 2 now of the gallon challenge where I'm drinking a gallon of water a day. So far in the past couple weeks, it's actually gone very well. Obviously, in this particular video, you've seen the first video that I did when I started it, week 1, now this is week 2. So, a couple different questions I've gotten, I might as well answer them. First off, people ask me, how am I actually doing this? And this is the water bottle I'm using. It's the Pogo water bottle. It holds 32 ounces, so I basically have to have 4 of these a day. My main system of the way I'm doing the whole gallon challenge is I have one of these when I wake up, so like throughout the morning. Then I usually work out about midday, and when I work out, I obviously drink a lot of water. So I actually go through one of these when I work out. So that means by the time I, shower, and actually just showered, right before this video, by the time I shower and, get changed after I'm done working out and everything like that, I've already had two of these, or basically halfway done. And then so throughout the rest of the day, I have to have another two of these, or 64 ounces. To answer another question I've gotten, couple of different people have asked me, so are you not hungover now? When you go out and you drink alcohol on the weekends, are you not hungover because you're drinking so much water? And for me, my hangover feeling hasn't changed, but the reason why I want to explain that is because for me personally, and anyone who knows me will say this, like, I hate beer and I only drink liquor. And when I drink liquor, I always chase with water. It sounds weird, but I promise, try it one time. It's not as bad as it sounds. And so when I wake up in the morning, I'm usually never hungover anyway. So doing this, drinking a gallon a day challenge or whatever, I haven't noticed any difference of me being any more or less hungover the next morning, simply because I drink a ton of water when I'm drinking alcohol anyway. So I guess on that note, that's how that works, I guess. And so now with the way it has been in terms of my feeling, I've been definitely feeling a lot, more energized, like I said before in the week one video. Not too much really of a difference, I'd say. I'm definitely on the same, like, honestly, I'm plateaued, so to speak, but I've noticed that within the first week, I started to feel like a lot better. And then now the growth isn't as substantial. I think now it's starting to like level off where my body's getting used to it. I would say I'm definitely peeing less compared to when I first started doing this. So that's good. The only negative side effect that's happened in the past week is that it's been kind of hectic when, let's say I'm traveling around and doing like a lot more jobs. And sometimes it's gotten to the point where it's been like, say, like at night, it's been like 8 or 9 p.m. And I'm like, shoot, I still have to have 64 ounces of water, or, like a half gallon. And I'll drink a ton of it within an hour or two. And there's one particular night a couple of nights ago where I think I probably got up and peed probably like 10 or 12 times that night. So I got barely any sleep because I was constantly waking up over and over again. And that was very frustrating. So that's really the only negative thing that's happened to me in the past week or so, where if I'm really busy and it's hectic and I haven't had a lot of water, then it's very difficult. When it's the nighttime, you're like, shoot, I have to chug a ton of water, which means I'm going to be peeing a lot throughout the night. Yeah, so that's really the only negative thing. But besides that, I feel great. Not too much difference from a week ago. I don't know via the video if you can see any change in my skin. I know that was a big thing that I read about in the original article that I heard about this with. But who knows? Maybe when I look back on this, maybe it would be a lot different. But so far, things have been going good, and we'll see how week 3 goes. Okay, so it's week 3 now of the Gallon Challenge, and to be honest, a lot has become kind of second nature. Like, people have asked me a lot as time has moved on, like, oh, you feeling like healthier or better? And the truth is, within the first 2 weeks, I was feeling like a lot healthier, and like I had a lot more energy, and all these different things. I'm not saying I don't have that now, but I feel like a lot of the health benefits have kind of plateaued off. Not in a bad way, but just, that in the beginning, because I was getting so much water, I remember feeling like extremely bloated. I remember peeing a ton and all these different things. And I think now that it's about week 3, my body's kind of gotten used to the excess water intake, so to me it's almost normal now. Interestingly enough, this past weekend, for the first time in 12 years, I actually got sick for the first time. So I will say that a couple of the days when I was sick, I actually didn't drink the total gallon of water because I was drinking so much tea. I was having, like a lot of, obviously, acetaminophen and Tylenol and basically just, like, stuff to kind of get better. So I was still drinking a lot of water, but not the complete gallon a day. What I found was interesting with that was that when I would wake up the next morning, I almost had extreme cotton mouth. I don't know if that's because I was sick, because I wasn't getting the normal amount of water that I have been drinking, or a combination of the two. But I will say that was a very interesting thing, how, my body's almost gotten so used to the water intake. In addition, this is nothing to do with the being sick factor. I've noticed also that I've lost weight from drinking a lot of water. Now, I'm not saying, for everyone to go out and drink a ton of water if that's your goal, is to lose weight, but I will say that I have definitely, lost weight the right ways, I guess, after drinking water and everything. I don't feel bloated anymore. In addition, I definitely don't pee as much as I used to as well, especially in the beginning of this whole experiment. So I think now, being week 3, I think my body's really kind of like leveled off and neutralized in the sense that it's pretty much used to now getting a gallon of water a day. So I don't get really bloated like before. I'm not peeing a lot like before. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm peeing more than I did when I first started this. But it's definitely not like before, which was literally like a few weeks ago, I was peeing every 10 minutes or 15 minutes or, a lot. But yeah, I mean, obviously we'll see how the rest of this project goes, but I feel like now, being week 3, and me drinking a gallon of water almost for about 21 days now, my body's getting a lot more accustomed to it. So that's one big thing I'm noticing. But, also we'll see what happens within the next couple weeks. Okay, so it's week 4 of the gallon challenge where I'm drinking a gallon of water a day for 40 days. And this week was pretty interesting. Last week I said that the effects kind of plateaued off, where I kind of felt like that everything that I was going to gain out of this experience I've already gained. This week was a lot different. I found that, I don't know what it was about this week specifically, but one, I found that my stomach now is a lot flatter. I'm definitely not going to try to suggest, like you have to do this to lose weight or whatever. But I mean, one, drinking water anyways shouldn't be good for you. And two, I will definitely say that my diet really hasn't changed too much. My exercise regimen hasn't really changed a lot. So overall, I'll definitely say that, drinking the gallon of water probably really did help, like, make my stomach flat. I'm not saying I was, like, fat before or anything, but when I first started doing this, my stomach was extremely bloated. So, like, it felt like, I understood the feeling of being bloated. This time, or this week, I guess now, it's kind of that kind of, randomness of like it being like really bloated then not and being all over the place. I feel like my body's now completely adjusted to the water, and now my body's starting to reap the benefits in terms of like fat loss, because that's something I read about before I tried this. So that's the one interesting thing that's happened. The second thing that I noticed, and I don't know if this is my perception or as you're watching this video you'll probably be able to easily see the week to week difference. I feel like the bags under my eyes are a lot better, and my skin for the first time this whole experience feels a lot healthier. I don't know how to word that any other way. I feel like my skin looks a little bit better. I don't really care too much about like the look of my skin per se, but when I originally read the first article about how women did this for 4 weeks, one of the biggest benefits that she said was that her skin got a lot better. And I didn't really notice that for the first few weeks. I say this week specifically is when I really was like, oh, it's looking a little bit better. And I haven't been sleeping more. If anything, I'm sleeping less now because I've been like so busy at the time of this video, or the specific one. So I'll definitely say, so far it's been going really well in terms of like those two benefits. Okay, so it's week 5 now of the gallon challenge. And for the most part, all the benefits I've mentioned before pretty much stayed standard. They haven't really gotten better or worse. I would say at this point now, everything for the most part has really plateaued off. Except one. I don't really want to mention this benefit until now, just because I want to be 100% sure is because of the water. But I've noticed I've actually been able to gain a lot more muscle after doing this than before. And I think this is more of an indirect effect. I mean, it's no surprise, obviously, that the more water you can drink, allows you to work out harder and for longer and better, and so on and so forth. And so I think that as an indirect effect of drinking a gallon of water a day, I'm able to work out harder, which has allowed me to build a little more muscle, which is cool. But for the most part, besides that, I'd say a lot of the benefits have kind of plateaued off. Besides the muscle building one, which has kind of gradually happened over time. And I really didn't want to say anything to her now, because now I can honestly say it is because of the water, which is great. But yeah, for the most part, most of the benefits have plateaued off. But I guess we'll have to see what happens a week and a half from now for the recap video. Alright, so the gallon challenge of drinking a gallon of water a day for 40 days is now officially done. Today's Monday. Yesterday was Easter, obviously, which was like the last day of it. And basically I completed the entire challenge and everything. So obviously you've seen the videos of, the start when I first started doing it. Then week 1, week 2, week 3, so on and so forth, up until now. And I've talked about, all the benefits and the interesting things that have happened. But overall, I'd say, to kind of recap this whole video and this whole experience, I guess, is that there were a lot of great things that happened. I would highly suggest it to anyone looking to try it. All the benefits already happened, to briefly mention them. And I'll say this, these are what I experienced. So this isn't something I read, although I did read that blog post about what happened with that lady when I first heard about this. But all these benefits that I'm about to mention, and that I have mentioned, are also that I've experienced. So this is all from my personal account. Is that one, I've had a lot more energy throughout the day. I've been able to be more active, as I said before in the last video. I've definitely been able to build more muscle and work out harder. I've also noticed my skin has improved. Overall, I guess I just feel healthier. In terms of the flip side, any like negative things was that one, I pee a lot. I mean, that's pretty standard. I did get used to it, and I can't exactly figure out if, because I haven't like obviously done the analytics, but I'm not sure exactly if it's that I just got used to peeing a lot, or if that I actually started to pee less because my body got used to the excess water intake. Also, I'd say that when I first started doing it, I felt extremely bloated throughout, especially the first 3 or 4 days. It was very annoying. And I remember saying that, it got to the point where I was like, oh my God, this is going to be like the worst 40 days of my life. Then my body got more used to it. And then as it started to go on, actually, I noticed that as opposed to me being more bloated or where my stomach, felt bigger or whatever, I actually noticed that my stomach started to shrink. This as I started to like lose weight and a lot of the fat, I guess, around my stomach region, which is pretty cool. I don't know exactly the science behind that exactly. I do know that there's something, I can't remember, I was reading an article about how your cells get used to the water, so it allows them to deplete the fat more. I can't remember. Basically, there is a science behind if you drink a lot of water, it actually helps you lose weight. And that did actually happen with me, so I will say that. In addition, kind of going along that lines as well, I noticed that I ate a little bit less. And I think that's because when you're drinking a lot of water, a lot of times in general, your body, you can't tell exactly if you're hungry or if you're thirsty. That's a big thing that, people say is that like the signs of hunger and thirst are very identical. So sometimes if you're really thirsty and your body just wants some more water, you actually, have a snack or eat something more that is really not giving your body what it needs. And so I think having a lot of water helped me eat healthier and also helped me eat less. So that may have also contributed to the fat loss as well. I also will say that I now, and this is something I read in the blog article in the beginning, and I definitely will agree with this, I now have a greater sense of if I'm hungry or if I'm thirsty. Like, I'm better able now to distinguish the differences between hunger and thirst, which is pretty cool. But overall, I think that this experiment went extremely well. A big question I've gotten throughout this process is, are you going to keep drinking a gallon of water a day? Like, a gallon of water a day? And the answer is yes and no. As I said in the past couple videos, in this video, that there were times, like say it would be like 9 p.m. at night, and I was like, shoot, I've only had a half gallon today. And I literally chugged a half gallon within like 10 minutes. And throughout the entire night, I'd be peeing like crazy. I'd barely get any sleep. It'd just be annoying. And also, I wanted to do that because I wanted to try to hit the gallon of water a day mark. And so I think that moving forward from here, one, I'm definitely going to drink a lot more water. I think that's what this really taught me, is that a lot of water intake is so unbelievably good for you. It's insane. I think on the flip side, though, I definitely will not, kind of like kill myself to make sure I'm drinking a gallon of water a day like I've had, throughout this experiment. And so I'll probably stress to drink more water, but I'm not going to be like, okay, have I had exactly a gallon of water, that exact amount, today. More overall, I would highly suggest, people to try this experiment. It went very well. It's pretty cool to see all the responses I've gotten online already, even before I release this video, of how a lot of people are going to start doing this. I've had a couple people ask me if they think a gallon is too much. The truth is, it really depends on you. I think if you're very active, a gallon is not a lot at all, actually. If you're not as active, a gallon may be a good amount. I know people who do fitness a lot, and I know people who do like fitness modeling and personal training who know fitness inside and out, and I even know that they tell me they'll maybe have even 2 gallons of water a day because they're taking supplements, they're working out extremely hard, they want to stay active, and actually it helps them. To me, 2 gallons a day is insane. I mean, I can't even imagine that. But yeah, I think it all depends obviously on who you are, and I definitely suggest for anyone watching this video, if you're interested, just start, hitting a certain mark. Try having 64 ounces of water a day, which is a half gallon, which is the recommended amount. But I think excess water intake is amazing for you. Another note that people have asked me is they brought up the issue of people dying before and having too much water, and those are extremely, extremely rare cases and are like few and far between. And so, if you're worried about having too much water, if something's going to happen health-wise, like you're going to die or something like that, don't worry about it. As a good rule of thumb, you can never have too much water. Obviously, too much of anything is bad for you. I mean, I think in those cases, the couple that I've heard about was a marathon runner who ran an entire marathon, and he needed the electrolytes and the sodium to kind of replenish his body, and he had a ton of water, so he felt like he got everything he needed when actually his body needed sodium and electrolytes and so on and so forth, and that's why he died. And the other person I heard about, I think he had like 2 gallons of water in 20 minutes, or something so ridiculous. I don't even know how he did that. And so in that case, obviously, that's a very extreme case. So in both those cases, those are very extreme situations that you probably won't encounter. And really, as a rule of thumb, you can never have too much water. I would also suggest with this experiment, and this kind of goes without saying, but if you are going to be doing this for the first time, you're kind of jumping your water intake from, a little to a lot. Be prepared that you are going to pee a lot. It kind of goes without saying. And so having a bathroom near you definitely makes that a lot easier. I've been throughout these 40 days in situations where I've actually been driving and had to pee extremely bad. So that's obviously the worst. Everyone knows it's like the worst feeling. And so keep that in mind. Like, I developed my own system of when I actually have a lot of water. And my system was that I'd have a half gallon in the morning up until 1 to 2 p.m. I'd have another 32 ounces when working out because I drink a lot of water when working out. And then from around 4 p.m. on, until the time I passed out, I'd have to have only 32 ounces. So that system worked really well for me. For other people, that might not work for them. So I would say if you're looking to really drink a lot more water, definitely try to plan around your schedule of when it works best for you and, whatever your system is. But if you have any question about this whole experience that I went through, feel free to post them, in the comment section. It was an amazing experience, and I'm definitely really happy I did it, and I cannot suggest it more to other people to try it as well. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments or interesting things you want to ask me, definitely post them. I'm very responsive. And thanks again for watching the whole video and this whole experience. I also have a link listed below to a blog post that I did that also recapped each week as it went along, and also like my final results of this whole project. But thanks again for watching. All that stuff is listed in the description I just mentioned. And again, if you have any questions, because I've gotten a lot of them, definitely post them.